What if I told you the tribal chief didn't come back alone? After 118 days of silence, after weeks of rumors, leaked texts, and backstage chaos, after the collapse of the bloodline, the betrayal of Paul Heyman, and the shocking rise of Solo Sikoa's brutal new regime, Roman Reigns walked through the Smackdown curtain last night and dropped a nuclear bomb. No pyro, no theme music, just cold silence, dim lights, and a slow walk that made the entire locker room stop breathing. He didn't say much at first, he didn't need to, because the moment he raised that microphone and looked directly into the camera, the atmosphere inside the arena shifted from anticipation to fear. And then, he said it. "You thought I was gone? You thought I was finished?" The tribal chief doesn't retire, he reloads. And with one single gesture, his hand raised, 3 fingers in the air, he summoned the storm. 3 men, 3 shadows, emerging from the smoke behind him, standing at his side with the same cold defiance once worn by Rollins, Ambrose, and Reigns a decade ago. But this time, the stakes are different. Because this isn't just a new faction, this is a resurrection, a warning, a revenge plan written in fire. This is Shield 2.0, and the names he chose? You won't believe it, one's a betrayal, one's a prophecy, and one is a ghost Roman buried years ago. This changes everything, because if the bloodline was built on family and loyalty, then Shield 2.0 is built on rage, vengeance, and unfinished business, and tonight, we break it all down. For months, Roman Reigns was a phantom, absent from screens, left out of storylines. His fall from power was public, brutal, and humiliating. Solo Sikoa stole his crown, Paul Heyman turned his back, even his own cousins, Jay, Jimmy, and later even Jacob Fatu, split from his grip. He collapsed backstage during a tense Smackdown taping in early April, whispers of real health issues and emotional burnout circled, and when he didn't show up at WrestleMania, fans began asking the unthinkable, is this how it ends? But last night, July 19th, Roman answered, and he didn't come to talk, he came to take everything back. Smackdown was halfway through the night, the commentary team was rattling off the aftermath of Solo Sikoa's violent win over LA Knight, and then, the lights dimmed, the feed went black for 12 full seconds, no music. No graphic, just dead air, and then, slowly, Roman Reigns emerged. Black hoodie. Black boots, no bloodline shirt, no entrance gear, no acknowledgement gesture. Just a slow, measured walk down the ramp as the crowd fell into stunned silence. Commentators were speechless. Michael Cole simply whispered, "Oh my God, he's here." And Roman kept walking, one step at a time, until he climbed into the ring, grabbed a mic, and stared directly into the hard camera. Then came the line, "This place forgot who made it matter, so I came back to remind them." He paused, "The bloodline is dead, long live the Shield." The camera cut to the entrance ramp, 3 silhouettes, 3 monstrous presences, one by one, they emerged, and WWE history changed forever. Meet Shield 2.0, the betrayal, first through the smoke, was the unthinkable, Braun Breaker, yes. Braun Breaker. The same Braun who stood behind Seth Rollins just 2 months ago. The same powerhouse who pledged loyalty to Paul Heyman. The same man who choked out Jey Uso during the Raw invasion. He's now standing shoulder to shoulder with Roman Reigns. Why? That's the question echoing through every WWE locker room right now. Some insiders say Breaker never trusted Rollins. Others claim Paul Heyman's control over him was always an illusion, but the truth is darker than that. Backstage whispers suggest Roman has been grooming Braun in secret. A slow manipulation that began even before WrestleMania 41. Sources close to the creative team claim Roman had one request during his hiatus: keep an eye on Braun. He's got the cold eyes. And last night, that prophecy came true. When Braun Breaker stood beside Roman Reigns, the message was clear: I was never with Seth, I was never with Paul, I was waiting for the real leader. Betrayal doesn't get colder than this. The second man to step through the curtain wasn't even supposed to be on the main roster yet. He's 23, undefeated in NXT, and reportedly skipped medical clearance just to stand on that ramp. His name is Gabriel Sefa, a name most fans have never heard, but if the rumors are true, you will, because Gabriel Sepha isn't just any recruit, he's a Noai royalty, a distant cousin of Roman, trained in silence, a ghost weapon developed at the Performance Center under the strict mentorship of Heyman, until Roman pulled him away. He's never spoken publicly, he's never posted on social media, he's never wrestled in front of more than 500 fans, until last night, and when he stepped beside Roman. Tall, silent, and glaring, Twitter exploded. Who the hell is this guy? He looks like Roman's clone. Is this the new Uso? WWE didn't comment. No graphic. No lower third. Just Roman turning to him and whispering, "My blood. My future." That's all we needed to hear, and then, it happened, the third silhouette didn't walk, he crept, a hood over his face, hands clenched, breathing slow, even commentary couldn't place him at first. Until he stepped into the light. And removed his hood. Dean Ambrose, no. Jon Moxley, no. Seth Rollins' worst nightmare. It was Tyler Black. The man who once bled with the Shield. The man who vanished into the Indies after burning every bridge. And now, he's back. Not as Moxley, not as Ambrose, but as something darker, something reborn. Commentators went silent, crowd noise cut out, and Roman simply turned to him and said, "You never left me." That's when the arena erupted, because this wasn't nostalgia, this was war. Shield 2.0 isn't about legacy, it's about control. Roman Reigns is no longer just the head of the table. He's the architect now. And the men standing beside him? One is a betrayal, one is the future, and one is the original sin. You thought the bloodline was dominant? Think again. Because Shield 2.0 isn't here to play politics. They're here to destroy everything that came after the original Shield fractured. Rollins. Heyman. Cody. Solo. Even Jay. No one is safe, but here's the twist, this new Shield didn't just come back to take over, they came back with a mission, and according to leaked documents backstage. Roman has given each member a target. A name, a legacy to erase, and the one assigned to Seth Rollins? Let's just say, you're not ready, so don't blink, because in the next section of this exposé, we dive into what Shield 2.0's formation really means for WWE. The mysterious connection between Gabriel Sepha and Rikishi. Why Braun Breaker turned on Paul Heyman. And the secret black box Ambrose left in Roman's locker 6 years ago. This is just the beginning. Roman Reigns didn't return to Smackdown seeking applause. He didn't ask for cheers, nor did he demand acknowledgement. This time, there was no tribal chief chant echoing through the walls. This return was different. Colder. Calculated. A return wrapped in silence, carried not by family, but by weapons. The weapons he's handpicked. Sharpened. Unleashed. And if Shield 2.0 is his army, then WWE is now the battlefield. Backstage, chaos erupted the moment the cameras cut to commercial. Officials scrambled. Seth Rollins reportedly left the arena before the main event even began. Paul Heyman was nowhere to be found. Solo Sikoa, for the first time in months, didn't smile. He didn't speak. He stared at the monitor in his locker room with clenched fists and silent rage. Because everyone understood what just happened. Roman didn't just return. He reclaimed the game board. And he flipped it. But what makes this so dangerous, so revolutionary, is not just who Roman brought. It's what they represent. This isn't a faction born out of respect or tradition. This is vengeance materialized. Each member of Shield 2.0 is a chess piece, but not one of them is a pawn. Braun Breaker is Roman's knight. Swift. Unpredictable. Trained in one direction, only to pivot and destroy when no one expects it. He is the betrayal that rewrites the entire narrative. Because if Braun was Seth's future, and Paul Heyman's muscle, then turning on them both sends one clear message: loyalty doesn't exist in war. Only strategy. Gabriel Sepha, though unspoken, radiates something different. Not rage, not hunger, but prophecy. There's something about his presence, silent, tall, unmoved by the noise, that sends chills through veterans in the locker room. He's raw, yes. But Roman doesn't need him polished. He needs him unshaped. Because to mold the future, you must first break the past. And in Gabriel's eyes was no excitement, no rookie fire. There was only cold purpose. It said that Paul Heyman once identified him as the next pillar. But Roman waited. Quietly. Patiently. And the moment Solo and Heyman turned their backs, Roman extended his hand, and pulled Gabriel into the shadows. And then there's the final piece. The ghost. Tyler Black. Not Dean. Not Mox. Not a watered-down version of the lunatic fringe. No, this version is something new entirely. A resurrection of everything that's been burning under the surface for a decade. A man who walked away from the system, bled across indie circuits, forged his own name, and yet somehow, ended up exactly where he was meant to be. At Roman's side. The symbolism is heavy. Roman was once the silent enforcer of the Shield. Tyler was the brains. The wild card. The man who struck first and asked questions never. And now, as the lines between fiction and reality blur, we're forced to ask, was this always part of Roman's plan? Behind the scenes, WWE production trucks were instructed to roll emergency graphics, but the control room was already behind. The internet was already exploding. Hashtags like hashtag Shield 2.0, hashtag Roman Returns, and hashtag Braun betrays Heyman flooded every trending list. Clips of Roman's return racked up over 3 million views in under 6 hours. But what people don't realize is that the promo was only the beginning. Because right after Smackdown went off the air, something far more chilling happened. Security footage, leaked within the hour, showed the new Shield walking backstage. Not talking. Not laughing. Not celebrating. Just walking. Past catering. Past stunned superstars. And then into a room marked private. That room, as confirmed by multiple sources, once belonged to the bloodline. And inside it, carved into the steel locker with what looked like a blade, were the words, "Legacy ends here." The implications are staggering. Because this isn't just about vengeance. It's about erasure. Roman isn't looking to rebuild his empire. He's looking to wipe the last one off the map. Solo's reign? Irrelevant. Heyman's manipulation? Forgotten. Jimmy, Jay, Jacob, Zilla, they were pieces. But they were all expendable. Shield 2.0 isn't an extension of the bloodline. It's the antidote to it. Roman's silent admission that family failed him. That tradition betrayed him. And that, in the end, the only ones he can trust, are the ones built in his image. Back in the locker room, tensions reached a boiling point. Rollins, who had just returned from rehabbing his fractured knee, was reportedly furious. Not just because of Braun, but because of what Roman whispered into the camera before walking away. "I started with you. I'll end with you." For Seth, that line wasn't poetic. It was personal. Because Seth Rollins knows better than anyone that Roman Reigns doesn't bluff. And if the Shield made them both, then Shield 2.0 could break them. Sources close to creative say this wasn't a one-time segment. Roman has signed a full-time Smackdown contract through Survivor Series. But not just to compete. To lead. Because the internal storyline, according to backstage writers, is now centered around one phrase: the Empire rebuilds. And that Empire will not feature the names we've come to expect. Not the Usos. Not Solo. Not even Heyman. But before we get there, there's something else. Something darker. 2 weeks ago, a black box was reportedly found in Roman's private locker, sealed, marked with nothing but a symbol. The original Shield logo. At first, production thought it was fan mail. A throwback. But when it was opened, it contained only one thing. A cracked photograph. Dated 2014. Roman, Seth, Dean. Sitting together, their arms around each other backstage. But Dean's face was burned out. Charred. Intentionally removed. And on the back of the photo, one sentence written in fading ink: history repeats. Violence remembers. No one took credit for it. Not Heyman. Not Moxley. Not even the production crew. But now, with Tyler Black standing next to Roman, fans are wondering. Was that box a warning? Or an invitation? And if it was sent by Roman, what did he burn to bring this new faction to life? The truth is, no one knows how long this has been brewing. Some say since Roman collapsed. Others say since WrestleMania, when Heyman whispered something in Solo's ear just before the betrayal. But those who really understand Roman Reigns, who've watched his every move for the last decade, know one thing for sure: this was never a reaction. It was a reset. Roman Reigns doesn't panic. He plans. And Shield 2.0 isn't a rebellion. It's a resurrection. A calculated, merciless counterstrike designed not to reclaim his throne, but to erase every version of himself that existed before. The family man. Gone. The tribal chief. Buried. The locker room leader. Silenced. What remains is something different. Something terrifying. Roman Reigns, the mastermind. The strategist. The emperor with no conscience left. And with Breakker, Sepha, and Tyler Black at his side, the question is no longer who can stop them. It's how long do the others have left? Already, locker room leaders are reportedly meeting behind closed doors. Cody Rhodes. AJ Styles. Kevin Owens. Even Sami Zayn. Names once divided, now united by a single fear: that Roman's new army isn't just built to win. It's built to destroy. To humiliate. To erase. One writer backstage reportedly called it the Purge Angle. Not a war. A cleansing. A storyline that starts not with a title match, but with obliteration. And the first targets? We already know. This coming Friday, WWE has confirmed a confrontation. Shield 2.0 will appear live, in-ring, to deliver their official statement. But that's not what has people talking. What has fans glued to their screens is the leaked match card. And at the very top? Main event: Roman Reigns and Shield 2.0 vs Seth Rollins, Solo Sikoa and Sami Zayn, Smackdown 6-man tag no build. No promos. No time to breathe. Roman is forcing this war into motion. And if the match goes ahead, it will be the first time Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns have stood face-to-face since the 2023 Royal Rumble. But this time, Roman's not alone. He's surrounded by betrayal. By prophecy. By ghosts. And the only question that remains is how far he's willing to go. Because if this is only the beginning, then what comes next may tear WWE apart from the inside out. This isn't just a new era. This is the end of everything that came before. As the camera panned across the arena, capturing the intensity of a SmackDown crowd that hadn't yet processed what it had witnessed, one undeniable truth hung in the air like fog: the WWE Universe had just entered a new phase, one no longer defined by family, tradition, or loyalty. That era had ended the moment Roman Reigns stepped out of the shadows. In its place stands Shield 2.0. And with them comes the dark promise of something colder. Something unrelenting. This wasn't nostalgia. This wasn't a throwback. This wasn't Roman clinging to an old legacy. This was Roman rewriting the story. And as the world watched, trying to make sense of Tyler Black's return, Braun Breaker's betrayal, and the silent debut of Gabriel Sepha, it became clear that Roman wasn't here to compete. He was here to dominate, and not just the ring. He was coming for the soul of WWE itself. Insiders close to talent relations say the locker room was in disarray following Roman's return. Multiple top stars reportedly requested closed-door meetings with management, citing safety concerns, confusion over storyline direction, and most importantly, loyalty conflicts. For months, the bloodline had fractured the WWE ecosystem. Now, with Shield 2.0 stepping into that power vacuum, a new hierarchy is forming. And in it, there's no room for the hesitant, the sentimental, or the weak. Roman's new message is clear: either fall in line or fall entirely. But who truly is Gabriel Sepha? Until last night, he was nothing more than a ghost on a training report, an untapped phenom with no social profile, no television debut, and no official branding. But according to documents leaked to Fightful Select just hours after Smackdown aired, Sepha has been on Roman's radar since 2022. Sources confirm Roman requested exclusive footage of Sepha's training matches, reportedly reviewing them personally during his private downtime in Pensacola. A source close to the Inoue family says Gabriel is a distant cousin through Rikishi's bloodline, though the specifics remain sealed, likely to be unveiled during a future on-screen segment. One note, scribbled at the bottom of a now-deleted internal evaluation form, said it best: Sepha moves like Roman. Hits like Taker. Thinks like no one we've seen. That quote was reportedly written by William Regal himself. And if true, it's not just a passing compliment. It's prophecy. It means Roman hasn't just recruited the present. He's carved out the future and placed it firmly under his command. No more mentorship. No more trial periods. Shield 2.0 isn't built for development. It's built for destruction. Meanwhile, the tension between Tyler Black's return and the silence surrounding Dean Ambrose has sent shockwaves across both fan and industry circles. Officially, AEW still holds Jon Moxley under contract. But as many have noticed, Tyler Black is not under contract with any current promotion. This return, deliberately avoiding Ambrose's name, is being described as a legal ghost. An apparition from the past, dressed not in corporate branding, but in shadows. The moment he stood beside Roman, arms folded and gaze hollow, a decade of pain and betrayal flashed before the eyes of every Shield fan watching. In the years since the original Shield split, Tyler Black, once a name synonymous with the indie revolution, vanished into creative purgatory. Forgotten by casuals. Revered by purists. And now, weaponized by Roman. But what's most terrifying isn't that Tyler Black is back. It's that he never spoke. Not one word. Not even a smirk. Because silence, when used by the right hands, is the loudest sound in WWE. Sources close to WWE Creative have confirmed that Tyler's new persona will not include promos, vignettes, or backstage interviews, at least not at first. He's being booked as what one producer called a cold presence. Someone who doesn't play to the crowd, doesn't care about titles, and doesn't chase revenge. He simply obeys Roman. Not out of loyalty. But purpose. And that, perhaps, is what makes him the scariest of them all. The comparison to the bloodline is inevitable. But it's also incomplete. Because where the bloodline ruled with ceremony and symbolism, Shield 2.0 operates like a militant cell. Fast. Sharp. Silent. Their loyalty doesn't come from tradition. It comes from scars. And now, those scars are being used as weapons. Which brings us back to Braun Breaker. Why did he do it? Some point to creative frustration. For months, Braun was teased as the next Heyman guy. The heir to Roman's throne. The centerpiece of WWE's next evolution. But when Rollins invited him to Raw, Braun played along. He delivered vicious beatdowns. Cut chilling promos. Even appeared to swear allegiance to Heyman's new faction. But under the surface, something was simmering. Because according to backstage reports, Braun didn't trust Heyman. He didn't respect Seth. And above all, he didn't want to be the next anything. He wanted to be the first Braun Breaker. And Roman gave him that. Roman didn't offer mentorship. He offered war. A chance to burn the system from the inside out. And Braun took it. This betrayal cuts deeper than most. Because for Seth Rollins, Braun wasn't just a project. He was supposed to be the anchor of the next era. The man who would lead WWE when Roman was gone. Instead, Braun joined Roman's side and made sure that Roman never left. That he came back more dangerous than ever. It's reported that in the moments following the Smackdown broadcast, Braun confronted Seth in the parking lot. Though security intervened, one staff member overheard Braun's parting words, "You tried to make me your legacy. I'd rather build my own." And that's the essence of Shield 2.0. They're not replacing what was lost. They're destroying what held them back. But while Roman and his new army step forward into this new war, not everyone is waiting to be a victim. Paul Heyman, who has not been seen on WWE programming since Shield 2.0's reveal, is reportedly assembling a counterstrike. Rumors suggest Heyman has been in contact with several former allies, men who, like Roman, walked away from him when he no longer served their purpose. But unlike Roman, Heyman knows how to manipulate the broken. Names being floated include Shinsuke Nakamura, Carmelo Hayes, and even, shockingly, Kevin Owens. If true, this would place Heyman at the head of a new faction, not built on legacy or blood, but vengeance. The idea? A coalition of the betrayed. Men burned by the system who now wanted to burn in return. One writer reportedly pitched the name The Resistance for Heyman's new faction. A rebellion not just against Shield 2.0, but against Roman's ideology itself. And then there's Solo Sikoa. Silent. Watching. Waiting. No interviews. No matches. Just a slow boil of quiet fury. When asked about Roman's return during a backstage interview, Solo simply stared into the lens and walked away. No words. Just fire behind the eyes. And make no mistake. This won't end with a six-man tag. The real war is psychological. Emotional. Because Roman isn't just targeting belts or victories. He's targeting identities. Breaking down alliances. Rewriting how every man in WWE sees himself. To Cody Rhodes, Roman is a wall. To Seth Rollins, he's a mirror. To Solo Sikoa, he's a ghost. And to fans, he's the last piece of the old world clinging to relevance. But that's the mistake. Roman doesn't want to be the last. He wants to be the first. The first to burn everything, and build something colder in its place. And as Shield 2.0 walks deeper into WWE's veins, poisoning what's left of the status quo, there's only one certainty left. This ends in blood. Because empires don't retire. They fall. And Roman Reigns is prepared to make sure this one collapses at his feet. He isn't asking for the throne back. He's coming to take it. When a storm sweeps through a kingdom, it doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't knock on doors or wait for the bells to toll. It arrives unannounced, unapologetic, and in its wake, it leaves nothing the same. That's exactly what Shield 2.0 has become inside WWE, a calculated storm. And at the center of that storm stands Roman Reigns. Not just the former head of the table. Not just a fallen tribal chief clawing for power. But a man reborn. A leader of shadows. A tactician of ruin. In the week following SmackDown, the ripple effect of Roman's return was felt far beyond the arena. WWE headquarters in Stamford saw a surge of internal meetings. Creative sessions were lengthened. Talent calls were rescheduled. Executives debated new direction points for SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and beyond. Why? Because no one saw this coming. Not like this. Not so precise. Not so inevitable. Roman Reigns isn't simply returning to action. He's building a legacy meant to replace the one that betrayed him. Behind the curtain, those closest to the situation know that this wasn't a last-minute swerve. It wasn't born from the desperation of injury returns or booking panic. This has been simmering since the day Paul Heyman handed Solo Sikoa the proverbial keys to the kingdom. Since the moment Jay walked away. Since the last time Roman looked into the camera and saw doubt staring back at him. Roman's absence wasn't exile. It was evolution. And Shield 2.0 is the result of that evolution. Each member was chosen for a reason. Each man represents a fracture in the old WWE code. Braun Breaker shattered the idea of future loyalty. Gabriel Sepha defied the myth that bloodlines needed to be public to be legitimate. And Tyler Black, he burned the final bridge between what was and what could be. But this isn't just about symbolism anymore. The war has moved from words to warning shots. Just 48 hours after Smackdown, Braun Breaker appeared unannounced at a WWE live event in St. Louis, interrupting the main event between Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. The crowd erupted into confusion. Cody lay down after the crossroads. Seth had the match in hand. But the lights dimmed, and when they returned, Braun stood in the center of the ring with a chair in hand and blood in his eyes. No music. No announcement. Just violence. Rollins tried to stand. Braun didn't let him. One chair shot. Then another. Then another. By the time security intervened, Seth was unconscious. Cody was screaming for help. And Braun was gone. Not even a trace of remorse. That's the reality of Shield 2.0. They don't attack to make statements. They attack to break rhythm. To create silence. Because Roman understands what the crowd forgets, power doesn't come from applause. It comes from fear. Gabriel Sepha, meanwhile, has remained eerily invisible. While Braun takes the headlines and Tyler stirs nostalgia, Gabriel has not spoken, not tweeted, not even made an appearance. Yet somehow, his name has become a source of anxiety in locker room circles. Why? Because no one knows his limits. What he's capable of. What his orders are. But one hint may have leaked in a backstage segment never aired. An unnamed source within WWE production confirmed that Gabriel was filmed walking alone into the office of Adam Pearce. Cameras were rolling. The audio was